In most businesses, even the best ideas will need approval from someone higher up the management chain. This is appropriate because the available resources, both in terms of people and money, are always finite, and these need to be used for the best results. So even if you're the person that comes up with the ideas and then approves them, it's still important to make sure that the best suggestions are the ones being implemented. Kevin, can you explain some of the factors to take into consideration here?
Yeah, typically there's two parts to this process. Some sort of benefit cost analysis and then making the business case. Working out which projects give us most bang for our buck is typically referred to as a benefit cost analysis, or some people call it cost benefit. The skill set to talk in terms of benefit cost analysis to emphasise the benefits of the proposal. It's simply a ratio of the benefit obtained compared to the cost required. And if we're comparing more than one proposal, then of course the one with the higher cost-benefit ratio is the one which we should implement. Now, there are a number of ways that we can do this, and so we're going to look at things called payback period, we're going to look at return on investment, and we're also going to look at non-dollar benefits and costs. So using payback period, we can work out how much it will cost to make the proposed change and divide this by the savings per month. And this will usually give us the number of months it will take to get the savings back. So if we take an example, the project's going to cost us $100,000. It'll save us $10,000 a month. So the payback period is $100,000 divided by 10,000, which is 10 months. Every month after that, we get an additional $10,000, which goes straight to the bottom line. We've already paid off the cost of the change. So this is quite a nice, simple measure of what our benefit is. Return on investment is a slightly more sophisticated analysis. It ends up giving us a percentage return and so allows us easily to compare different projects and also with large projects to compare the benefit we get with, say, the interest rate we pay on the money we borrow to fund the project. So let's go back to our example again of a project which costs $100,000, gives us a $10,000 a month saving, which of course is $120,000 per annum. So we divide one by t'other, multiply by 100 to get a percentage, and so we get 120% return per year. That's a very nice investment if you can get it. For projects that extend over a number of years, the return on investment analysis can be made more sophisticated by including the time value of money. Now, we're not going to go into that technique in this webinar, but your accounts department is probably able to help you with that. So for the examples we've looked at above, both the costs and the benefits have been expressed in terms of dollars. Mathematically, we always need to use the consistent units of measure throughout our calculation. And in the business world, that's usually dollars. So the calculation's usually not difficult. How much energy will we save in kilojoules or kilowatt hours? How much do we pay for that energy in dollars per kilojoule or kilowatt hours? Multiply those two together and we get the saving.
You should also factor in non-monetary costs and benefits, and these might not always be obvious. Louise, what were some of the non-financial benefits and costs that you considered?
Yes, reputation has always been a big non-financial benefit for us. More and more, we're finding that our clients are looking to partner with supply chain partners that they view as innovative or environmentally aware. And so in addition to strengthening partnerships with our existing clients, this sort of reputation has also opened new doors for work. We've also found that such a company ethos is leading to high staff retention rates, and that new staff are starting to approach us looking for work because they like our reputation and what they hear about our culture. Other more tangible benefits have included being able to install new equipment once we've reduced our energy demand via various energy efficiency measures. So this occurred recently at one of our new sites where we upgraded our lights and were able to install a new press as a result of the extra power capacity created.
Kevin, what would be some of the ways you could make these things quantifiable and comparable?
Well, as Louise has highlighted, there's a whole range of non-dollar benefits and costs that we need to consider. The term social return on investment is one term that's often used to cover these. There are a couple of approaches. One is to monetize these other benefits and costs and so compare them. So an example, if a business values having a better reputation in the marketplace because of its green image, we might ask the marketing department to estimate the dollar value of this in terms of market penetration or price premium. And so we can come up with some sort of financial proxy which we either define or guess for all the factors. But we can take a broader view of this if we want to capture all the benefits and costs that can't be easily monetised or even monetised at all. And so here we need to come up with an agreed set of standards and some ranking or rating system which then allows us to compare and monitor the projects. So as Louise has already discussed, one way of doing this is to use a risk matrix to provide an agreed basis for comparison of different initiatives. Notice that we do always try to quantify, i.e. to put a number, not necessarily a dollar, but a number on our costs and benefits. Comparing projects, being able to publicise and celebrate the achievements is much easier and more forceful where we can show the increased benefits both compared to other possible projects and also to compare the after with the before. But we don't need to use absolute values. Comparative values applied in a standard way, such as with the risk matrix, are often a much more accessible way of doing this. One factor that's often ignored is the time and effort commitment by the personnel involved. We can monetise this quite simply by taking the number of hours they spend and multiply by their pay rate. But this is misleading as people are often just expected to fit this in with their normal role. And often it's better to look at the additional time they'll be required to devote and express this perhaps as the amount of support they'll require from others in the organisation so that all functions proceed at a reasonable time frame and without undue stress. So calculating the social return on investment will depend on the measures being used and is beyond the scope of this webinar. But we do cover some of these details in a series of guides which are available from sustainabilityskills.net.au.
I'm going to ask Carly, if you're online with us, Carly, could you type in the URL that takes people directly into those guides in the Sustainability Skills website? I think from memory there's 5 guides, and they do cover metrics and quantifying and a number of other useful topics. Thanks, Carly, that's great. So there's the link there if people want to go directly in there and see which guides are available and download them. So the business case is typically a key step in getting ideas approved. Louise, how does Focus Press approach and use the business case?
Celeste, I'd say for us that the business case is certainly the starting point for all of our energy efficiency decisions, but it's certainly not the be-all and end-all. So we use it more to establish a baseline for further investigations as a first-off check to see whether we should even think about proceeding with a certain project. The business case gives us an idea of the cost versus the energy saved, but then, as we've discussed earlier, we also take other factors into account, such as productivity, safety and carbon emissions. We also don't have a set format that we have to use. Our analysis always includes a cost-benefit analysis, but the specifics depend very much on the specifics of the project or the piece of equipment that we're looking at.
So the business case then is simply stating why doing this activity will enhance the business. In other words, it's the why bother statement. It could be the final wrapping up together of all the factors, or maybe we do a business case early in the process to decide which initiatives are worth pursuing. The size, structure and depth of the business case will vary enormously between businesses and might even vary between different levels in the one business. You might have a simple one-pager for a production team, or you might have a more complex document if it covers the whole business at the management level. Typically, though, it includes the benefit-cost analysis we've just been talking about, and includes demonstrating how this proposal meets the stated objectives of the business and helps it achieve its vision. Somewhat cynically, the business case may also include how this project will help relevant managers keep to their KPIs. So a typical business case will include things like what is being proposed, i.e. the technical spec. Why is it being proposed? Where did it come from? What else was considered? Why is this proposal superior? How much will it cost in terms of capital, in terms of labour, in terms of other costs? What are the benefits? tangible benefits in dollars or kilojoules, the intangible benefits, safety, motivation, quality, community image, the when, what's the timeline for this, the benefit cost analysis we've just talked about, and finally a summary of why this will benefit the business.
So the process for getting approval for energy improvements will vary between businesses and sometimes even within a business, but the business case is really about making the case. So it will include some analysis, typically with the benefits and costs, financial and other justifications for making the investment in a particular improvement.